My name is Tom Johnson. I just graduated from high school last year, and I'm currently working at a small cleaning company my grandfather runs. My father passed away from an illness when I was 3 years old. Since then, my mother and my grandfather raised me together. I can never thank my mother and grandfather enough for bringing me up without any hardships until I graduated high school. Swimming, which I started in elementary school, is my only special skill. Thanks to the support of my mother and grandfather, I was able to participate in the national athletic meet during high school. This is the greatest pride of my life. But just before my high school graduation, my mother passed away from the same illness as my father. The sorrow I felt when my mother passed is indescribable in words. If it wasn't for my grandfather, I might not have been able to overcome that sadness. Despite my grandfather probably being devastated too, he acted strong in front of me. My grandfather is the only precious family I have in this world. After graduating from high school, I joined my grandfather's company. At first, I decided to work there because I wanted to support my grandfather.
My company is small and it probably doesn't have a future. It might be better for you to look for another job while you still can.
At first, I resisted when he said that, but lately I've come to think there's some truth in my grandfather's words, so I've been looking for a new job while still working. But job hunting in these times is pretty challenging. The economy is in a slump, and the fact that my highest education is a high school diploma is a drawback. The days I spent living with my grandfather are very peaceful. Sometimes I think it might be okay to continue this way, but when I think of the future, it's not a sustainable option. I'm constantly worrying and struggling, not seeing the results I want as I ponder what to do. The cleaning company my grandfather runs is very small, and even he, being at the top of the company, works as a cleaner. I too serve as a cleaner, going to various places and getting the job done. Among our few regular clients, there's a branch of a major corporation where my grandfather and I polish an entire floor of a building, making it shine from corner to corner. The employees there are very kind and polite, and whenever we pass by, they say, "Thank you for your hard work." One day, as I was thinking how major corporations must have high-quality employees, I saw a man I'd never seen before during our usual cleaning rounds. He was a young man with a bright demeanor. Our eyes met as he entered the conference room, and for a split second, it seemed he gave a rather unpleasant smirk. I brushed it off, thinking it might just be my imagination, and continued cleaning. As I was wrapping up and was about to regroup with my grandfather, I heard voices arguing from the other end of the corridor. "Look, man, I said your filthy mop hit my expensive suit, didn't I?"
It didn't touch you. I saw you coming from the other end and moved to the side of the corridor to avoid you.
Huh? Hey, old man, are you an idiot? If I say it hit me, then it hit me. I'm going to bill you for the cleaning of my suit. Recognizing that voice arguing back was my grandfather's, I quickly headed towards them, cleaning tools in hand. I found my grandfather being confronted by the young male employee from earlier.
Hey, what's going on?
The young male employee seemed slightly surprised by my sudden appearance, but quickly smirked again. I can't get through to this old guy, so you'll do. So this mop he's holding hit my suit. Got it?
Grandpa, is that true? No, it isn't.
My grandfather looked straight at me, shaking his head. Though our cleaning company is small, he takes pride in his work. He's never made a mistake like hitting someone with a cleaning tool before. Huh? Are you his grandson?
Yes, I am. This man is my grandfather.
Huh. You both have the same poor-looking face. Saying that, he let out a crude laugh. I may not know much about this young employee, but I know my grandfather well. Chances are, this guy is lying.
At first, he told me to polish his shoes as we passed each other. When I refused, he started making up this story about the mop hitting him.
My grandfather whispered something in my ear. Hearing that, anger began to surge within me. Sadly, there are quite a few people who look down on janitors. It's not uncommon to see some people deliberately drop trash when they see us. This company had always been different. Both my grandfather and I had worked here comfortably. But this guy... As I glared at him sharply, the young male employee ceased his crude laughter and shot a defiant glare back at me. What's with that look? I'm an elite employee transferred from the head office to this branch, you know.
Haven't you ever heard the phrase, no job is superior or inferior to another?
What? Stop your gibberish. I was willing to forgive you if you covered just the cleaning bill, but with that attitude, I'll charge you for emotional damages.
I mean, what's he asking emotional damages for? This self-proclaimed elite looks older than me, but even I can tell he's spouting nonsense. Does he think I'll be scared if he mentions emotional damages? I was so annoyed, thinking I don't need to deal with such a person, and was about to leave quickly with my grandfather when...
Hey! Do you not get it? Figures. Janitors doing bottom-rung jobs are dumb after all. Both grandfather and grandson in such jobs, the US is really going downhill.
True. My grandfather's company is very small, but it's well regarded by its clients and he takes pride in his work. I've seen his dedication up close. I couldn't stay calm after he insulted my grandfather's work. I felt like a kettle boiling over, and the next thing I knew, I had thrown the contents of the bucket I was holding all over this so-called elite employee.
What?
He stood there with a dumbfounded expression, water dripping down him, forming puddles on the floor. Ah, I'm sorry. My hand just slipped unintentionally. I tried to maintain an outward appearance of calm, delivering a line that even I found to be quite insincere. But considering how dirty you already were, it doesn't make much of a difference, right? I'll cover the cleaning costs. Please, forgive me.
You! What the hell did you just do?
Like I said, it was just an accident. It was our mistake. I sincerely apologize. But you make mistakes too, don't you?
How on earth was that an accident?
You started this, didn't you? If you're going to provoke someone, be ready for the consequences.
Huh?
I finally lost my patience and exploded. It's pretty obvious that everything you've been saying is just picking a fight. Can't you, at your age, tell right from wrong?
No.
Your way of provoking is so low level. If you seriously think you can demand compensation for emotional distress, you're an irredeemable idiot. Maybe you should start over from being a baby. Just so you know, I don't usually use such aggressive language. I'm generally a reserved person. So I'm surprised at my own outburst. But even more so, the self-proclaimed elite employee in front of me is visibly shaken. After taking in my barrage of insults, the elite employee said, "You'll regret this." And then, with a cliché line fitting of a small timer, he left the scene. Shortly after, my grandfather, who was taken aback by my sudden fury, came to his senses and scolded me. "What the hell were you thinking, you idiot?" I regained my composure and felt a pang of anxiety thinking about the repercussions if word got to their company. If held responsible, I would have no choice but to take the blame entirely upon myself. But how would I do that? As I got home and was deep in thought about the situation, my grandfather approached me with a concerned expression. "I received a call from their company. They want us in the president's office tomorrow." I thought it was over. "Grandpa, I'm truly sorry. I'll take full responsibility." "How can you, a mere employee, take any responsibility?" "Well, Then a smile crossed my grandfather's face. "It's all right. I'll explain everything to them. After all, this started because I didn't handle things well. You were just trying to protect me." "Grandpa." "Anyway, brace yourself for tomorrow. And thank you for standing up for me. You are my pride and joy." Moved by my grandfather's words, I broke down in tears despite my age. And the next day, my grandfather and I stood together outside the president's office. He seemed a bit nervous as he knocked on the door. A male voice said, "Come in," and we entered the office. "We sincerely apologize for the inconvenience." My grandfather greeted politely, and I followed suit. Feeling a deep guilt for making my grandfather do this, I had to hold back tears again. However, the president's reaction was not what I expected. No, I actually called you here today to thank you." "Thank you?" As I looked up at the president's face,
he was smiling for some reason.
That particular employee, actually, he had just been transferred from the head office because of problems. We've been receiving complaints about him here at this branch too.
While I was surprised at the president's words, I recalled yesterday's events, and it all made sense.
I was wondering what to do with him when the incident happened yesterday. After reporting it to the headquarters, it was decided to move him to an even more remote location. It really helped getting rid of that trouble. So, about yesterday's incident, there's no particular punishment. We'd like to continue requesting your cleaning services.
Saying that, the president smiled. My grandfather and I exchanged relieved glances and sighed with relief.
Who's this young man? Ah, this is my grandson, and also one of our employees. He's the one who argued with that problematic employee yesterday.
By any chance, did you save a little boy 2 years ago?
Oh, yes, I did. But I haven't told anyone about that other than my family.
It's a story from 2 years ago when I was still in high school and my mother was alive. That day I had an errand. So I took a different route home, along the riverbank. The previous day, there was a heavy rain, and it seemed the river had swelled more than usual. That's when I noticed a little boy who was on the verge of drowning. Without hesitation, I jumped into the river and rescued the boy. I handed the boy to a nearby lady and then left the scene.
That child is my grandson.
What? Really?
Yes. I wanted to thank the savior of my grandson's life, who left without leaving a name. But your mother stopped me.
My mother?
Your mother said he didn't help someone to get thanks. As long as the child is safe, that's all that matters. She also added, he's a very shy boy. If he heard that some CEO came to thank him, he'd be absolutely flabbergasted.
The CEO took my hand and said with a genuinely pleased look,
I never imagined I'd meet my grandson's savior like this, and now you've assisted us again. Words cannot express my gratitude. Thank you very much.
No, it's nothing like that. While the CEO held my hand, I felt incredibly embarrassed the entire time. Watching me and the CEO, the old man had a delighted grin on his face. From that day on, the old man, the CEO, and I started to interact beyond the bounds of work. Especially the old man and the CEO became such good friends that you could even call them buddies. They discovered they both enjoyed the game of Go and often played against each other on their days off. The old man apparently often spoke about me, and one day he accidentally let slip about my job change to the CEO. The next time I met the CEO,
Don't be so distant, Tom. Leave that kind of thing to me,
he said, laughing, as he introduced me to a new job opportunity. Thanks to the CEO's generous support, my job change was a success. Although our meetings have become less frequent, our relationship continues. Past events connect to the present, and they lead to the future. Life is unpredictable, but I believe that good encounters pave the way to a better future.